Hello, hello. So great to be here with you on this day, to be inspired together, to hear amazing music, to plant 1 million trees. It is a great way to spend time, and I am really honored to be here with all of you. So I want to begin with a very personal question. Have you ever felt a time when you felt a bit helpless and hopeless, where the challenges that we are facing as humanity or the challenges in your own life seem so huge that you just didn't know what to do? You felt a bit paralyzed. Well, I had a situation like that just last week. I was outside my home in Nevada City, California, and the air was thick with smoke. So I had on my mask, my KN95 plastic mask that made it a bit hard to breathe. But on this day, I was wearing not just one mask, but 2 masks. And it was hard to breathe. My eyes were burning. And I looked down at my phone that had the AQI meter on it, and I saw that the air was over 300, which means it was not only unhealthy, it was actually hazardous. And it had been even worse a few days before, 600 on the meter. It was off the chart. And I was freaking out, wondering, when will it end? It had been weeks. The smoke has been coming every day, intense, very little break. And I was feeling a bit desperate, a bit helpless, a bit hopeless about this situation we've known about for years. More than a decade, we've been hearing climate change is coming, it's coming. And now, here it is. And it's not just the fires. There's floods, there's tornadoes, there's so many different things. And that's on top of a global pandemic. And on top of all the polarization, I was feeling really hopeless in this moment. But then it got even worse. Because the reason why I'd come outside was to do my duty, which involved this little white porta potty sitting in front of me. Now let me tell you how this porta potty came to be in my backyard. You see, we decided to start a school, a forest school for our preschoolers. We have one daughter who's 4 and the other almost 2, and it seemed like a great idea. And it's been beautiful in most ways. The kids get time to play and be outside in nature, and it's a delight. It's totally off the grid, and the kids love it. But because it's off the grid, the downside is there's no running water and there's no septic, which means the parents need to take turns cleaning out the little porta potty. And it was my week. And unfortunately, on this week when I opened the lid, oh, wow, there was a little child who didn't know how to use the porta potty. It was left for a few days, and wow, it made my stomach turn. And in this moment, the smoke combined with the scent, combined with the fact that my daughter, when I'd left the house a few minutes before, was having an utter meltdown because she could not find her favorite blue cup, which was a tragedy in her life. That combination had me want to run. I was about to put on my shoes and start running out the door, up the driveway, out my gate, into the forest. But then I stopped because I realized, where would I go? And what good would it really do? So I took a deep breath and I went into meditation. Great Spirit, please help us find our way through these messes. I know not what to do. It was quiet. I waited. I didn't hear anything in that moment. But a few days later, that still small voice came into my head saying, the power of one, the power of one, the power of one. What was the power of one? I had some distant memory of a movie I'd seen when I was 17 or 18 years old called The Power of One. So I went to the internet to see if I could find this movie. And lo and behold, it was made in 1992, almost 30 years ago, but it had deeply impacted me in my teenage years. So I went to see this movie on the internet. And it's an incredible movie. I invite you to see it if you haven't already. Or even if you did, it's probably been a while. I won't tell you all the details. But one of the poignant things about this film is the young boy who's the protagonist has a mentor. And the mentor says to him, when you have any big question, take it to nature. So there's a scene of this young boy looking out over Victoria Falls. Bah! It is huge, it is powerful, it's amazing. For those of you who are American who've seen Niagara Falls, this is like Niagara Falls on steroids. It is gorgeous, quite an epic scene. And this young boy's looking out into it. And we don't know exactly what message he's gleaning from the waterfall till later, when he's in a conversation with a very powerful government official who's sort of dismissing that he can create much change in apartheid Africa. And this boy says, "Sir, the waterfall begins with a single drop of water. And look the power that comes from that." So I took in this message and I realized I am a little drop of water, which sometimes can feel insignificant. I've felt, what can I do with my little drop of water when we're dealing with something as huge as climate change? But then I realized I'm not alone. My drop of water is my power of one. And when my drop of water combines with your drop of water, combines with his drop of water and her drop of water together, we are powerful. Like a waterfall, we can cut through mountains. We can move through things that seem immovable. So don't underestimate your power of one. It's mighty. And whether you're dealing with things very small in your own life, the messes you might need to clean up on a personal level, or this global climate challenge, together we can create a waterfall of change. So the question is, what will you do with your power of one? And I have a few invitations for you. One way to really use your power of one is to reduce your carbon footprint. You've probably been hearing about this for years. You know it's a good thing to do, but it's very possible. Think about your travel, your transport. How can you cut your airline flight down? We've already been doing that with COVID. How can you keep that going? Travel less, carpool, use a hybrid or an electric car. There's a wonderful article on the New York Times about reducing your carbon footprint with all the different ways spelled out. Check it out. Second way, plant trees, reforest. We all know that this is important, so I invite you to join with me and with Shift Network in this effort to plant 1 million trees. Now that's going to cost a lot. Each tree costs 50 cents on the US dollar. So that's going to cost around 500,000 US dollars, which is a big number. It seems a little bit hard to reach that big goal. But remember, my drop of water combines with your drop of water. I'm committing to give $1,000, which right now, honestly, is actually a bit of a stretch for me because we're putting all this money into our kids' school and our land. But if I give 1,000, and if there's 500 of you who can each give 1,000, together we can plant 1 million trees. Now, if $1,000 is a huge stretch for you, what about $5? That would plant 10 trees. Would you be willing to give up a coffee or a latte or a cappuccino just once to plant 10 trees? I invite all of us to do that. If that's too much, $1 still plants 2 trees. Whether it's big or small, please unify your drop with mine and all of us at Shift to plant 1 million trees together. And you can do that by finding the donate button right now on this page. If you've already donated, what about donating more, doubling your donation? Stretch yourself, because this moment that we're in collectively requires us all to stretch. Third way you can make a big change is becoming a more educated climate activist. And there's 2 great ways to do that. First of all, there's an incredible training that is being hosted in October by Al Gore with his whole Climate Reality Project. So check out this link on the screen. Putting a link up here now. You can register to join me in being a part of this training coming up in October in different languages around the world. Another way to be trained and take collective action is to join Shift Network in our Eco Challenge. So this is a way that we can watch videos together, learn together, take action together. We invite you to join Team Shift and to be a part of this effort. Check out the link on the screen now, and you'll see how you can register for that. So coming back to you, you have much more power than you realize. You have the power of one, which is mighty. One person, you can make a huge difference, whether that's in your own life, in your own community, or on a large scale towards climate change. Join your power of one with ours, and together we can co-create a new reality on this planet. The time is now. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Let's create this waterfall of change together. Thank you.